about Arsenal, because they're the highest net spenders in the Premier League, but are they potentially not done yet?
They're not done. Piero Hincapié, the highly rated Ecuadorian centre-back from Bayer Leverkusen, has been there for 4 years, part of their invincible season to win the Bundesliga title under Xabi Alonso just 2 years ago. Arsenal talks over a loan with an obligation to buy. So the likelihood is the accounting for this will go on to next season's accounts, but it is an area, that left-sided centre-back on the pitch, that Arsenal want greater reinforcement, greater quality, and that comes on the back of Jakub Kiwior, very, very close to a deal being agreed to move to Porto. That's a loan with an obligation to buy of around £20 million. That will work out as the same sort of figure that Arsenal actually paid back in 2023 for the Polish defender. For Arsenal, though, outgoing's key for them. They're looking to offload the likes of Alex Zinchenko, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, Sambi Lokonga between now and the close of the window. But they're not done. I mean, it's an incredible window for Arsenal. Arsenal fans very excited.
Yeah, it really is. And it might not have ended there.
Right, we're going to talk Arsenal now. Dharmesh, we've been reporting they need centre-backs. What's the latest?
Oh, what a window, by the way, for Arsenal. We thought it was going to be the end of their spending when Eberechi Eze made seven signings.
We were saying they've not spent a penny. Do you remember at the beginning? They've not spent a penny, not a bean, Arsenal. Look at them now.
Well, that was more you.
Yeah, it was me.
I was saying that they were going to do business. It's on record.
Arsenal and Liverpool have both stretched the window, haven't they? They've been extraordinary in the money they've spent. I think they've stretched ahead of everybody else.
To a certain extent as well, even Manchester United. But they're not stopping with Eze. That was their seventh signing. It was about £250 million spend. It could go close to 300 million if they get this next man through the door, and he is Piero Hincapié. He's an Ecuador international, Bayer Leverkusen centre-back. He can play left-back as well. Discussions are continuing between the two clubs over a fee and the structure of a proposed deal. He's actually got a release clause in his contract. It's £52 million, but we think that Arsenal do want to negotiate on that. However, there has been a development today. The Leverkusen director of sport, Simon Rolfs, has said that he wants Hincapié to stay at Leverkusen and that they have yet to receive an official offer. Hincapié looks like he wants to leave. I think he's made that clear to Leverkusen. And I think in their last game that they had a bit of a poor result. But at the end of the game, he was close to tears because it looked like it was his farewell appearance. But this is all tied into potential sales, which we have been talking about with Arsenal, with the priority being some sales in that squad because they want to regenerate some money. And one player who could help the Hincapié deal along is Jakub Kiwior. Now, we did tell you yesterday that Porto were close. They are still close. It's not agreed yet. It's a £26 million deal in all. That will include a loan fee and an obligation fee. And it could go even higher depending on Kiwior's appearances and Porto's qualification in Champions League. So I think they only spent £20 million on Kiwior. So didn't really establish himself at Arsenal, so it's not a bad sale if they get this one over the line, but it's definitely one that they're looking to complete, and then Hincapié could yet be signing number 8 for Arsenal in the window.
Incredible. Different story.
Porter, and tell us about Arsenal's search for another defender.
Yeah, I mean, they got their 7th signing of the summer in an Eberechi Eze, and we then thought, right, focus is on sales. But they are still wanting to recruit in this transfer window. They remain in talks with Bayer Leverkusen over the signing of the Ecuador international defender Piero Hincapié. Discussions are over a fee and the structure of a deal. Now, look, Hincapié has actually got a release clause in his contract, £52 million, but we think Arsenal would want to negotiate on that release clause. Now, the Bayer Leverkusen director of sport, Simon Rolfs, he's actually been speaking about Hincapié. He says Leverkusen do not want to let him go, and we have yet to receive an official offer, which we shouldn't be surprised about because they're still in discussions before Arsenal will then make their move. But with just 5 days to go, I mentioned those sales. I think this all linked to what Arsenal want to do with their squad, with potential players leaving. Jakub Kiwior is one that is edging ever closer to Porto. We think that deal is worth around £26 million all in, which includes a loan fee and an obligation price. It could go even higher than that, depending on how he performs and how Porto perform as well. So I think at the moment, Arsenal not done, incomings or outgoings.
Does outgoings include Reece Nelson?
Yes, it does. I think they're listening to suitable offers for him. We've been speaking throughout this transfer window that it was Fulham who were at the forefront of those talks. They had him on loan, remember, for the entire season last season, but he got an injury, didn't he? Halfway through that season, didn't play since the start of December. They've gone back in for him in this transfer window. However, they look like they are focusing on alternative targets, and it's now Crystal Palace who look like they're in pole position to sign Reece Nelson. They are in talks with Arsenal over a permanent deal. We think the fee under discussion is around £15 million. He's entered the final 2 years of his contract, hasn't featured at all in the opening 2 Premier League games, so one to keep an eye on in the last few days.
Let's just finish with Fulham, Rob, because Marco Silva didn't seem a very happy bunny last week when he spoke about